This is video help for assignment 55, where are you going to? And the key is I'm giving you instruction on how to map out a problem. When I talk about mapping, I'm referring to this little flow chart here, which shows you that you can get from cubic centimeters to grams very easily. It's simply density. You can get from grams to moles easily. Molar mass. These work in both directions. But when it's a more difficult problem, you might have to get from cubic centimeters of one thing to moles of something else, and that's difficult. It's easy to get lost along the path. So the intention of this problem set is for you to have a strategy before you begin calculating. Problem number 1 is a simple example of this. It very clearly says you have grams and your destination is moles. So on the map, I have grams as a starting place. Destination is moles. This says it's one step. In the margin of your paper, I'd like you to actually write what it shows here on the map. I'm abbreviating grams as G. And for moles, I'll abbreviate that MOL. And that's one step. And I need a molar mass. Molar mass. So this is all I have to do for 1. If you're doing dimensional analysis, given times conversion factor, which I know is the molar mass because I've already mapped it out. I've already got a plan. It's the molar mass. And since it's one step, that'll just get me there. Now I'm looking at question 2A. Try to map this out before I show you what the map should be. When I read this problem, I see moles of sodium hydroxide and moles of copper chloride. So I have moles of one thing and moles of another. This map suggests I need the mole ratio. I need the coefficients in the balanced equation, which is why you balance the equation. So this is moles of one thing, which in this case I can specify moles of NaOH. Looking for moles of copper chloride, which is CuCl2. And I know I need my coefficients, which I don't have yet, but I can easily balance the equation. So do the math here, get an answer, and then I'll show you the answer. So my final answer here So here's my work. I use dimensional analysis, and here's my answer for question 2A. To B suggests it's 2 steps on the roadmap. So I'll recommend you get out your roadmap and see if you can read this question and figure out what will the 2 steps be. Make a map. So here's my map. Given grams of NaOH, I see I'm here. I can use molar mass to get to moles. That will still be moles of NaOH. And then I can get to moles of the copper chloride in a second step. And this time I'm using the mole ratio, the coefficients from the balanced equation. So that's what my map looks like. I know I need to use molar mass here. I know I need to use the coefficients here. You can try to solve the problem, and I'll show you my answer. In my first step, I'm using the molar mass here to get from grams of NaOH to moles of NaOH. That's how many moles of NaOH are present. In the second step, I'll use the coefficients of the balanced equation, which is a 1:2 ratio, and that will, 2 here, 2 moles of NaOH, to 1 mole CuCl2. And by labeling, I was easily able to catch my own mistake and realize it's not 1 mole of NaOH, it's 2. And this 2-to-1 ratio gets me an answer of 0.775 moles of copper chloride. Final answer. You could do this with dimensional analysis. It would be a little more compact if you did the Texas two-step. But it doesn't matter as long as you're labeling every number, getting a good final answer. So I'm leaving it up to you to map out these last 2 questions. I will give you the hint that this one here looks like a 2-step problem, and this last one here looks like a 3-step problem. So try to map these out and bring your map as well as your mathematics to class to check with the neighbor.